Okay, testing. I'm going to see how I go today, because what I've done is I've got notes on my screen here. So my eyes are going to flick backwards and forwards because I can't try and make sure I don't forget things. But yes, I'll see how it goes. Hopefully you won't notice it too much, because you know I'm supposed to look here for the camera, and I'm supposed to look here, and if my phone rings, I'll have to stop. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Leonie, aka Stitching Noni, and today it is Wednesday, the 1st of April. The 1st of April, 2020. Oh my goodness. It does feel like 2020 is one big April Fool's joke, don't you think? How life has changed. So, I recorded my last video on the 11th of March when I was on holidays. And yeah, how life has changed. So, sorry, as you know, I did a little bloopery thing, which I'm putting at the beginning of this video because it's a bit silly. And then you would have had the start of my video, and now you're having me. But yeah, I've got my screen, my work screen here, because I'm working from home now. Yeah, so I'll get back onto that in a minute because I've already gone off script. So yeah, so unfortunately I can see emails coming in, so maybe I should just close my email program down, but I can't afford to. And I've got my work phone here, so you know, if it rings, I'll have to stop. But let's just mosey on along and see how we go. So, as I said, it is the 1st of April. The last video I recorded was on the 11th of March. When I was on holidays, as I said. So I took 2 weeks off leave for when my stepson got married. I had a week. The second week was just quiet. I didn't really do that much going out or anything like that. We did do a couple of little things, but my brother-in-law, who was over from the UK, basically was down at Margaret River and did a bit of his own travel around and met up with his cousins and all that sort of stuff. So I think, God, so it's been a long 3 weeks. So Ostie and Emma were the same. They were down at Margaret River. They came up towards the last couple of days before they left. Ostie and Emma actually flew out on the 16th of March. So I took that day off so they could go out to the airport. Now this was when everything, basically the proverbial, hit the fan with coronavirus here in Australia. Everything started getting shut down, airports, travellers, all that sort of stuff. So Emma and Ostie were already planning to go back to Berlin or the UK, whichever was going to work for them, but they ended up going home to Berlin. They went home on the day that they'd planned to go, so that was all good. They then had to self-isolate for 2 weeks when they got home. So cool, they've done all that. Jeremy, my brother-in-law, Mark's brother, he was planning to stay for another week, but then he, sort of a few days before that Austin and Emma left, he started ringing Emirates to try and get himself a new flight home, because obviously things were just going berserk and he was starting to stress that he might not get out of the country or get home. So he managed to get himself on another flight and he left on the 18th of March. So yeah, so he went back home to the UK, where he's had to self-isolate for 2 weeks, and obviously now, given his age, he's in permanent lockdown. Here in Australia, yeah, we're doing okay. We in WA are now in what they call stage 3 lockdown, and where we pretty much aren't going out and doing anything unless you have to, because you're an essential worker and you need to go to work, you've got medical appointments, or other specific things like shopping or going to the pharmacy. So, and when I say shopping, I mean grocery shopping, not shopping. Pretty much all the shops are shut. So the grocery stores have stayed open, petrol stations obviously, things are constantly changing, and WA has been split into what they call 9 regional zones, which we have regions anyway, but they've basically shut the borders as of last night. So if you live in Perth and you want to go, like if I want to go and see my parents in Dongarra for the weekend, I can't unless they're sick and I have compassionate reasons to, or it's an emergency. So what else is there? There's like people who, like with my company, we're mining, we're classed as an essential service, so we're still allowed to operate at the moment. That may change, but hopefully not, because we still need to obviously mine, and the country needs us to keep selling our product to get the royalties for flow on effect. So yeah, so there's all this sort of stuff going on at work. So scoot back to me. So I went back to work on the Tuesday the 17th and basically said to my boss I would like to look at permanently working from home because of the coronavirus spread. I, with my rheumatoid arthritis, I'm on what's called an immune suppressant drug, and it's an autoimmune disease, so I'm in high risk. If I get sick, I won't be here. I probably won't survive it. So he wasn't too happy with that. I actually had an appointment with my rheumatologist, so I went and saw him. He told me to go home and Hermit. That's the best thing you can say to a stitcher, isn't it just? So anyway, I went back to my boss on the Wednesday and I said, look, medical advice is I don't come into work on public transport, and I don't come to work where I could potentially come into contact with someone with the virus. Boss, again, wasn't too happy, but he said fine. So as of Thursday, the 19th, I have been working from home. So this is week 3, but yeah, week and a sort of done nearly 2 weeks of working from home. All of last week, a couple of days from the week before, and so far this week. So last week our office went on what they call a red-blue, which was teams. The whole office was split into a red team and a blue team, so only 50% of people would be in the office. That was to start last week. On Wednesday last week, they basically went everyone out. No one is working from home. No one is in the office. Everyone is working from home, except for there's a couple of exceptions. Some of the designers that use the big sort of desktops and stuff that can't physically take them home be in the office, but they were working to get them also working from home, and that was happening by this week. So essentially everyone who works in our Perth office is now working from home. Not allowed in the office. They're still working on like what they call a red-blue week. So if you were in the red team and it's your week, you could go into the office if you needed to in an emergency situation, but you're only allowed to go to one floor. All other floors have been locked down. So if I went into the office next week on my blue week to get something out of my locker, I wouldn't be allowed on my floor. I would have to either be escorted or have someone else go to my locker to get something out. So thank goodness I got everything out of my locker that I might have needed when I left work on that Wednesday, because I've not been allowed back in the office, and I won't be allowed back in the office now until everything's clear. What else? That's about it. It is a very scary time, I think, for most people. Well, pretty much everybody is in some way or another affected by this across the world. What we're seeing on the TV, on the news for Italy and France and the US, and it's scary. I just find it very hard to watch the news every night. It's like anything, you've got to keep watching it to find out what's going on, but at the same time I'm trying not to, because it's so distressing. Here in Australia we're reasonably okay. I think we're locking down quickly enough to hopefully control the community spread. We've been unfortunate. We've had cruise ships come in with a lot of people, and that's what some of the numbers, certainly for New South Wales and also for Western Australia, they've been cruise ship numbers. But hopefully, because WA, literally we've shut the borders, no one's in, so freight can come in, which means we can hopefully still get mail, food and stuff like that, but it's all going to be controlled, and it's going to be really tricky with stuff coming through. But yeah, we've got to do it because we have to stop the spread of the virus, and we have currently going into winter, which means this could be something that escalates once people start getting sick with the flu and or the virus continue together, who knows. So yeah, the talk is we could be like this for the next 6 months. So at the end of September, October, when we come out of our flu season. For me, I don't know what that will mean. At the moment, I am continuing to work from home, but the work that I do has got a lot quieter because I do a lot of travel and a lot of meetings. My boss is very busy at the moment. He's on a lot of the working groups for what's going on, but I'm not as busy as I could be, hence I'm doing a video. But yeah, there's still stuff going on. I've still got stuff to do, so we will just see what happens over the course of the next few weeks. It's very up in the air, but at least I've got a job, so I am very grateful that I'm in a situation. I didn't lose my job overnight like a lot of people did. Mark's business has completely stopped, no income whatsoever. But yeah, but at least at the moment I'm still working, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that that continues. And with that, shall we move on to something that's a little bit more pleasant? I don't want to make my videos going forward anything about the virus if I can help it, so I will try and focus only on the nice things in the world, which is stitching at the moment. So now that I went completely off track, I'm going to have to just have a look and see what was I supposed to say. Oh yes, okay. So what I was going to say is welcome back to my videos. So yeah, it's only 2 weeks since my last one. So with a bit of luck, we shall hopefully get into a bit more of a routine, especially if I can record when I should be working. But yeah, I haven't had a lot to show, to be honest. In my last video, as I showed you, I think 2 projects, and they haven't changed. I have been, monogamous is probably the way to do March. I was a monogamous stitcher in March, okay? I don't know why. I think a lot of it was just the stress of everything that was happening. I just couldn't focus, so that the best thing to do was to focus on the same thing, not flit around. I had to have some constant in my life, and that was it. But I have noticed that I've had a few new subscribers recently, so I don't know if they've all come from Cheryl, and Cheryl did a shout out a little while ago, and if so, thank you very much, Cheryl. But if someone else has given me a shout out, please let me know, and I can go and thank them as well. But welcome to all my new subscribers, and of course welcome back to all my lovely subscribers who keep following me even though I'm a bit erratic with putting up a video. Right, after all that, 12 minutes in. Let's see. Yes, so I've told you what's going on. All our visitors have left. I've told you what it means for me for working from home. Okay, so today is the 1st of March. And, I mean, the 1st of April. So, for March, as I said, I was monogamous. I actually worked on 2 projects, so I was semi-monogamous. So I worked on Bold Blooms, which I was using for my daily 30s whenever I needed to use it for those prompts. But otherwise, I focused on the Birdcage. I didn't have any new starts and I had no finishes. I was trying to finish Bold Blooms last night, but I didn't quite make it, unfortunately. Out of the 31 days in March, I stitched for 30 days. I missed the 17th of March. It was my brother-in-law was here, and I didn't actually stitch at all that day. I think, with work and then coming home and having tea and sitting and having a few wines with him. Nothing got stitched. Throughout March, in that week or so that I had off, when people were around and whatnot, I tried to stitch every day, even if it was like 50 stitches, but the 17th I didn't manage to get anything in at all, which is pretty rare for me because I usually can try and find at least time to do 10 stitches, if nothing, but no, on that day it just didn't work. But I think 30 days out of 31 is pretty good. I managed to do 29 days on the Birdcage out of that 31 because I didn't stitch on it last night. And I did 14 days on Bold Blooms. So, we will start with Bold Blooms. Now, I did remember this time to grab hold of the photo from my last video so I can sort of talk to it a bit better. So Bold Blooms is the, oops, hang on. Let's take the card out and then we can see what we've got. So this is a free gift and it came out of the Cross Stitcher magazine, June 2009. I started this back on the 2nd of January 2016 and pretty much didn't touch it once. I'd started it and ignored it until I picked it up last month. I think it was last month I picked it up. But since then I have, so I will put in the before pic of where it was on my last video and you'll see what I have done since then. And this is what it looks like now. Now, I made a boo-boo. If you noticed on the design, there's only 3 of those. So somehow, when I was obviously first stitched it, because the first bit, when I first stitched it, I went across, counted across, and then I didn't bother to count after that. I just carried on lining that up. Well, I obviously did 5 too many accidentally, which meant I added in 1 more of these. So I've got 4 of those. So this time round, I obviously stitched these in. I did all the back stitching on the bars. I've done all the back stitching up here because that's now the top. I've done the back stitching on that and finished all the white in there. I've finished all the white in that one and I've finished all the white in that and the centers, and I've started the back stitching on this. So all I need to do is finish the back stitching on those flowers, do the 2 stems on this and complete the back stitching on here, which is in this pale pink, do some French knots around the place and it'll be done. So my thinking is I'll actually bring this out tonight. I've still got 1 more daily 30 prompt of the daily 30s for the week to do. So I'm going to bring this out this afternoon when I finish work and stitch on that and get it finished. I was really hoping to have a finish, then I could say I had a finish for March, but that didn't happen, so we didn't get a finish for March. So my next daily 30 then, I've got to have a little think about how I'm going to do my next daily 30 prompts for the 5, because I actually quite liked not jumping around too much with whips this month or last month. So that is my thinking, is maybe nah, why would I want to stick with that? That's boring. But no, I'm sort of thinking it's a good way to get some focus, as we all know. So I've already had a couple of thoughts about what I'm doing for April, which we'll talk about when we get to that point. So the other one that I had out was the Birdcage. Now, this is the Birdcage. So this is the Design Works kit. Design Works? Yeah, Design Works kit. And it's actually designed by a lady by the name of Claire Coxon. Doesn't tell me anything more than that. So yes, that's all it tells me. So it came obviously as a kit and had the Ada in it. It was supposed to be a 14 count Ada. Has all the beads and the floss and whatever. I didn't like the Ada, and as I mentioned in my last video, I changed it out. So I'll put in a before pic and you'll see what it looked like when I showed you on the 11th of March. And I had done quite a good chunk. My thoughts were, I actually wanted to spend quite a bit of time on this and make it, if not, I obviously couldn't finish it, but I was actually hoping to finish a good section of her gown and get into the bottom part of her gown. I didn't quite make that, but this is what she looks like now. So I will fold her a bit so that we can see. This is on a 32 count Belfast, yes. Bed of Roses from Colour Cascade Fabrics. So when I showed it to you the other day, or last time, I had done her head. I hadn't finished back stitching, so I've now finished all her back stitching on her hair and her face and her body. I had done her arms and I had done, yes, I've done some of that, but I've finished back stitching that. I've now finished all of this. In fact, I've finished all of her gown, except for a bit of back stitching, down to her leg. So I've still got to do the back stitching in here. So I've back stitched all those roses as these ones do, and I've just got to bring the back stitching down here. And then we're into her leg. Now, so the size of this design is quite large. So what I did is, I don't normally photocopy and mark off, but I did on this one, mainly because of the intricacy in the roses. Because if you look at like this rose here, it's made up of multiple colours, round and round in circles, and these are all the same. So given the intricacies of it, I thought maybe I better do the right thing and photocopy it, which I did. So I've been marking it off. So when I got down to this bit, so all of her long leg is on another copy. It started on this copy. So what I did, I made a boo-boo. So I pulled out the other copy and I started stitching her leg. But what I didn't actually do is I've started at one down. She should have been up there. And of course I didn't notice, because what I needed the bulk stitch. So I sort of basically had done it sort of up to here, and I went, oh, I'll just start down here, pulled over the next page and carried on. I should have marked off the bits that I'd already stitched, and it would have triggered what I was doing, but I didn't. It was only when I started coming up here and I went up there and I went, that doesn't line up, and then I tweaked. So I've ended up putting in an extra row in here, and it's not going to make too much of a difference because I wasn't pulling that leg out, because it's literally here. So all I've got to do is just fudge in here, so that, and I'm basically I'm working off the leg, which is why I've left that gap, because I'm going to come up, work off the leg and use the leg as my guide, and then as I get back up into here, I'll just add one extra row of colour or something, or make the row slightly bigger. I think I'll just add an extra row of colour down in here. It's not going to make much of a difference. But that's where she's at now. So I'm actually really pleased with my progress on her. So she's in a good spot to put her away. She's not in the best spot, you know. She would have been better if I had finished the top part of that gown coming into her leg. But once I found that mistake, it was, and that was only 2 days ago, I realised I'd made the mistake. It was on the Wednesday. No, hang on, where are we? We're on Wednesday now. It was Monday night that I realised I'd made the mistake. And I sat there and went, oh, I just can't do this. So, yeah. So that's why I didn't stitch on her last night. I thought, I'm not going to keep stitching on her and make more problems for myself. I'll bring it out when I'm ready, and I'll fix, think about how I'm going to fix it up when I do it. But yeah, so stitching terms for that. So since my last video, I did 2,162 stitches on her. So that was between the 11th of March and the 30th of March. And in total for 2020, I did 4,757 stitches. I was trying to do 5,000 stitches on her before I put her away. But when I made that boo-boo, I went, no, I'm just put her away. And she's done. I forgot to tell you, I actually have done 953 stitches on bold blooms since my last video, and that was between the 14th and the 31st of March. And in total, I have done 1,510 stitches on bold blooms. So just get rid of that notification. So yeah, so that's, pretty good. It's amazing when you focus on something, you all of a sudden you get some good stitches in. So I'm quite pleased at that. So I'm happy in a sense to put Birdcage away. I am actually at a point where I'm ready to put that away now. I wasn't earlier in the month, which is why I kept adding her to different challenges and doing more. But and I think part of it is because I've realised I've made that mistake, and I just don't want to pull it all out. And yeah, but for the most part, I'm happy with that. So it's good. So I say so all the time, don't I? Total stitches in March, 5,328 stitches. Total stitches year to date so far for this year is 16,117 stitches. That's pretty awesome. So as I think I said at the start of my video, I haven't had a new start in March, and I didn't have any finishes in March. So at the moment my stats for starts is 3 and my stats for finishes is 4. So at the moment I'm 1 ahead. I quite like that. That is it for stitching. So what I thought I'd do is run through all my groups. So the daily 30, the scavenger hunt, I'm still sitting where I was before, so I've completed 2 prompts and I'm still halfway through or almost finished the 3rd prompt, and that's on Forest Snowfall, so of course I haven't picked that up since my last video, so no change. For the March daily 30, it was the Nashville markets. I completed 1 task in that. Birdcage just didn't fit into any of the other tasks, so that was fine. The weekly challenges. There was a Grand Canyon week. There was no daily 30 prompt in that, but I managed to do 5 tasks out of the 10, and I used the Birdcage for all of them. Gilligan's Island, I did 1 out of the 6 tasks, and again there was no daily 30 challenge in that one, and I used the Birdcage for that 1 task. St. Patrick's Day, I did 2 out of the 7 tasks, and there was a daily 30 prompt in that, and I used the Birdcage and Bold Blooms. John Henry, which is one of the current ones that's still going, I've done 3 so far, and that includes the daily 30 prompt, and I used Bold Blooms and the Birdcage, and I'm bringing out Kitty Litter this week for the postage stamp prompt, which is 300 stitches or something for that one. And then the April Fool's prompt, which is the one that started the other day, I've completed 1 so far, and I'm on the last day of the daily 30 prompts for those. And again, I used Bold Blooms and the Birdcage. Getting a theme. Okay, Magical Stitches. Magical Stitches. For March, it was Kingdom Keepers Book 2. I'm not reading the books. I managed to get in most weeks at least 1 prompt, sometimes 2 prompts, and I was using the Birdcage for those. I only did 1 of the monthly ones, and that was the Chernobog one, and I told you all about how I used the Birdcage for that, and that was a Stitch and Spell. There was also another Stitch and Spell a couple of weeks ago for one of the weekly tasks, and I used the Birdcage for that. That was, I think, can't remember what it was, Cage. That's right, the word was cage, so it was C-A-G-E, and I used it for cage, ankle, gown, and ear. So I used similar prompts as what I'd used in the other one. So week 1 is out now for April, and we're back to the Villains book, so that'll be fine. And I'm bringing Kitty Litter out for, yes I am, that's why I'm bringing Kitty Litter out in the first case, because I had to find a design that has a male stitcher, or sorry, a male designer, and Kitty Litter is designed by a Norwegian guy, Brand Bolt, I think his name is. I'll put the name at the bottom. So I pulled him out, and then that's when I thought, well, I can also use that for daily 30, because that picture, the Kitty Litter picture, will actually look like a postage stamp, so you know, yeah, that'll work. Mythological Stitches. So March was all about the British and Irish mythology. It's a Celtic type mythology. I did 2 out of the 5 weeks, the weekly challenges. So each week was just a single set of prompts. So there was only, you didn't have to do lots of prompts, you just had to pick a project and work on it for that week. So I completed 2 out of those 5 weeks. The monthly challenges, I used the Birdcage again for the monthly challenges, and I used the big 1500 and a 500, so I did 2 out of the 5, so that was pretty good. And we're still waiting to see, I've missed something. Yeah, I've missed something, but that's okay, we'll come back to that in a second. So I'm still waiting to see what April's challenges are going to be for Mythological Stitches. I missed Enchanted Stitching. So we were playing with Pirates of the Caribbean, so Captain Jack. And where I could, I used the Birdcage for the weekly challenges. So I was managing to do at least 2 prompts every week, which was pretty good. So, and I usually do 250 stitches for each of my prompts where I can. The monthly tasks, I only did one task, and I used the Birdcage for that, and I did 2,096 stitches. I think it was a 2,000 stitch prompt. I normally don't do the monthly tasks in Enchanted Stitching, I just do the weekly ones. But given I was focusing on that and I knew I wanted to get thousands of stitches done, I did that. The April movie is cards, so I'm waiting to see what we get for cards. That could be quite interesting. The Ultimate Cross Stitch group, we had a confetti, it's a block party, and my team was pretty much in front the whole way until close to the end, and then we started getting pushed to the second spot, so we ended up coming second, but that's fine. And then we moved into the confetti cleanup, and we had to do 1,000 stitches before the end of the month. I did that, 1,017 stitches, so I finished that event, so that was all cool. Waiting to hear what April's going to be, so we'll sort that out when that comes up. Sane stitches. Okay, this and that was Tame or Savage. I chose Tame and used the Birdcage. All done. 5,000 plus stitches. Letters of Fortune, I managed to complete 2 phrases, and I started on my 3rd, but of course I didn't get that finished because the month ran out. The Around the World challenge was Ireland, and I just chose to do the 5,000 on anything, so yep, got that one. A Literary Journey, I'm on book 2, which is the Swamp. And so far I'm at 5,749 stitches for a total of 8,550 stitches to stitch for that book. So doing pretty good. Stitching the landmarks. So I managed 3 landmarks in March. I managed to do Giant's Causeway, which was a requirement of 1,986 stitches, and I finished that off with 2,036. I finished Basil's Cathedral, which was a requirement of 2,190 stitches. I did 2,215 and finished that one. And Easter Island, I had a requirement of 887 stitches, and I finished it for 901 stitches. Awesome. I'm now working on Mont St. Michael, which has a requirement of 3,150, and I'm currently sitting at 877. So pretty good, pretty good. There's a couple of the really large ones. Yeah, we won't be doing that because we won't be getting that many stitches in. So I'm doing all the smaller ones, and then once I knock those off, I will go for the smallest of the biggest. I won't be doing it. Alphabet Soup, I didn't do F. I meant to bring out Forest Snowfall, and it just didn't happen. So G is the current letter, and at the moment I've got nothing. But who knows? I might try and find something for one day. Maybe. We'll see. I did nothing on Cinderella for the fairy tale sale. And nothing on Beach Cottage Sampler for the pick it and stick to it. Yeah, well, there's a theme there, isn't there? April. So April is Frogs and Stitches, which is a game like Snakes and Ladders. So I've signed up for that. I got my board ready to go for that. Choose My Whip is on again. So that's good, hopefully. So for this week I put up Kitty Litter and Bold Blooms because I knew I was going to stitch on both of them anyway. So that's cool. And it looks like Kitty Litter's the winner, so even better. Stitch or No Stitch is another game one like a Deal or No Deal. So I've got my board set for that one as well. Around the World for April is Canada. So I'm thinking I will bring out Father Frost because it's got a polar bear, and I'll try and get 1,000 stitches on that one. And of course anything besides that I'll work towards the 5,000 stitches as well. This or that for April is solids or speciality. I think I'm going to go with solids because I can use Father Frost for that because I've got the polar bear, which is quite a lot of white and grey stitching. Plus I'll stitch with DMC, which is a solid colour as opposed to a speciality pre-hand dyed. And then they have the spring into Easter as well, but that's a non-counting one, so I'll just find something that looks springy and maybe do that. Alphabet Soup is G, H and I. We'll see how we go. Stitchy Quest for the One Ring. No, I keep forgetting to go and look at the challenges for that, and unfortunately a lot of them tend to require dice rolling and stuff, so yeah, I haven't been doing that. Whip Go. I'll put up my Whip Go board. So this will be the April Whip Go board, so you will see that there is no completed squares yet. They're all been picked, nothing's been completed. So the March draw was the Forest Snowfall, which was square number 2, and Beach Cottage Sampler, which is square number 18. I didn't touch them throughout March. The last time I stitched on both of them was February, and both have a finish as a goal on those. So I really need to pull them out at some point and work on them. April's draw is 11, which is Forever and Ever, and 25, which is a new start. So the goal for Forever and Ever is a finish, and my new start goal is 5 days of stitching on a new start. I'm thinking I'll probably bring Forever and Ever out because I think I can use it for a couple of prompts anyway somehow, whether it's flowers or birds or something. So I thought I'll at least try and work on that for April. And if I'd been clever and bought it out a couple of days ago, I could have used it for F, for alphabet soup, but I didn't. So never mind. And a new start is going to be the tricky one, because while I'm itching for a new start, I can't settle on anything at the moment for a new start, so we'll see. But I'll talk about that in a minute. So that's Whip Go. Okay, so plans. So my plans are, I'm racing through this today, aren't I? My plans are Bold Blooms, which you saw just before. I'm going to try and finish that today or tomorrow. So that will be a finish, and then that can be put away. And then I need to think of what I'm going to bring out for my daily 30. So I have a couple of thoughts, and this will flow in a minute. I need to bring out kitty litter. So I'll put a picture of the cover design up here, and that's a kit. And I'm stitching on the Ada. That's partly why I don't stitch on it very much, is I should have changed that out because I really don't like that Ada, but it's okay. I'm going to try and do at least 500 stitches on that. My 2 prompts that I'm working on both require 300 plus stitches. So if I can get 500 stitches in the next few days, at least 300 in the next few days, that'd be awesome. Father Frost, again, I'll put in a design pic so you can see which one I'm talking about. This is a Joan Elliott. And I started it whenever I started it, last year sometime. I want to try and get 1,000 stitches on that for the year, for the month, for that Sane Canada round the world prompt. I am also hoping that I can use it for a couple of other prompts here and there, so we'll see how we go. And Forever and Ever, which I'll put in the design pic. That's the cottage garden sampling one. So I started that last year. That's the one with the Whip Go goal of it as a finish this year. But I'm going to try and aim between 500 and 1,000 stitches this month on that one as well, depending on what prompts I can use it for. So we'll see how we go. Now, I'm also thinking that one of those 3 could end up being my daily 30 prompt for the month. So once I've done the prompts that I need to, I can just pull it out and maybe do, 50 or 100 stitches on it a day on the 5 days when I need to do my daily 30. So we'll see how we go. I'm not sure yet which one it will be. It'll have to, it's got to be one that's quick and easy to pull out and not have lots of colour changes. So it will depend on where I'm at with it. Now the new start, this is the tricky one. I don't know what to do. I've got things kitted up behind me. I sort of want to start a mirror, but I don't want to start a mirror because I've got too many. I sort of think because I spent so much time on the Birdcage and I really enjoyed doing that, I really should bring out a mirror so that I can actually focus on a mirror. But I just don't know what to do. So I'm thinking, for a new start, I could do one of these Be Well and Stitch freebies that a lot of the designers are bringing out at the moment. And I really like the drawn thread one. So I've printed that off and potentially work on that one. But I also want to start a shepherd's bush. So I've got those shepherd's bushes that I showed you. Did I show you in my last lot of video? I think I did. So I sort of thinking I could start one of those. But I've also got the shepherd's bush ornies from the previous Just Cross Stitch, the older Just Cross Stitch Christmas orney ones, which I really want to do all of those because I want to do the 4 that I've seen it stitched together as, I think it's called the year 2000 or something. So I actually want to do the 4 of them stitched together. So there's that, and I have the threads for those. I just don't know what fabric I want to do it on. But there's also the 2020 Just Cross Stitch Orney Facebook group, when I've got the 12 orneys I'm supposed to be stitching for that out of last year's Christmas orney book. Yeah, heaps of options. I've just got to choose one. I could even start something completely different. I could start a Mill Hill kit, which I know, you know, if I started, I'll get into it. So yeah, I don't know. Heaps and heaps of options. So you have to wait and see what I decide in a couple of weeks. It'll be interesting to see what I decide. At the moment, I'm just really struggling thinking about a start. Now, I've just looked at the time. My reminder's popped up. I've got to call my boss to talk about his calendar, which has gone out of control. So I'm going to pause here, which means I can go and talk to him. Then I was going to talk about some haul, which is sitting behind me there in that little box over there, which is just fabric of the month stuff. So what I'll do is I will call my boss, sort out his calendar, and probably come back and do the haul bit, and then I can stitch them together and do some editing maybe this afternoon and get it all done. So I'll see you shortly. Okay, so I'm back. So that took a little bit longer than I thought. So the boss had 3 pages of notes, things to do. So I've got 99.9% of them done. And I thought I'll get this done so I can do the editing, and then I'll get back to the last couple of things I want to do. So I gave you a bit of an update on the stitching and the prompts and the March stuff, and now I did plans. We're working through the next bit. So part of my plans, which I didn't mention, was I thought I'd have an isolation project. So generally, like over the Christmas holidays or an Easter break or something, hubby and I will bring out the jigsaws or something like that. This time round, rather than he's doing a jigsaw, but I'm going to bring out the diamond painting I bought. So that was this one I bought, was it last year I think I bought it? So I've actually started preparing the little things, all these little beads, and putting them into the containers that I bought. So I'm labelling them with their relevant number and putting them all in, all ready to go. Probably start it on the weekend. I can't see that I'll start it before then, but I thought I might start that, and we'll see how we go. So yeah, looking forward to doing that. I think this is the same one that Stephanie So Crafty is doing. So yeah, quite looking forward to that. So that's just here because I started putting them all together yesterday afternoon after I finished work. I thought, well, I'm still here and sitting at the desk, I might as well just quickly do it. So that's my isolation project. We'll see how far we get once we get onto it. And then the last thing I was just going to show you on today's video was the only bit of haul that I've got. Literally, I haven't bought anything other than my fabric of the month and any of the mirrors if they come out. I've got a stack of stuff that I'd like to get that came out at market, and I will at some point get them, but I'm just waiting now with all the stuff happening with the COVID-19 thing. I don't know whether mail from the US is going to be affected, so I'm just putting anything on hold. I will buy it when things settle down, unless Tammy's got it, and then I'll get it from Tammy. So the mirror that I got the other day was the Duchess of Rouen, which is the second in the series with the Baker's Wife. I love these two. They are just so awesome. So I've also got all the embellishment pack, the beads, and there's a water lilies, which is just on hold, so I'm just waiting for that. And the other thing I got from Tammy was my January fabric of the month, which is very pretty light pink and blue. There's no name on this one, so I have no idea what it's called, if it's a named one or whether it's just one that she did. But it's really quite pretty. It'll definitely be a mirror on that one. I can see a mirror on that one, if not that one there. But, so this, yeah, doesn't have a name. It's just got January 20 on it for fabric of the month, and it's a 28 count opal Lagana, so probably that lady won't fit on it, but who knows. I had 3 fabrics turn up from Under the Sea Fabrics. So this is Hera, and I get Joblin from Under the Sea Fabrics from Leslie. So it's just blues and purples. So very, very nice. This one is Kelpie. Seeing as I'm so late getting these, you've probably seen these on other people's videos. This is more green than the other one. The other one was blues and purples, and this is greens and blues. Oops. It's a bit hard to get true colour. And this one is Calliope or Calliope. Calliope. It's just got a mixture of all sorts of colours. All sorts of colours. Pinks and greens and blues. So one side is like that and that side like that. So yeah, that's a very pretty one too. Don't know what I'll put on that one. But yeah, that's it. So literally, that is all. I have nothing more to add, I don't think, for this week. It was probably a bit boring actually this time with only 2 whips, so I do apologise. I normally would have more, but yeah, I just don't, I'm not feeling it for swapping out. We'll see what happens this month though. It may be that I've done the monogamous thing and I'm going to have to swap out, but as I mentioned, I've got 4 that definitely I want to work on anyway, so we'll see how we go with that. And I shall be back maybe in 2 weeks, maybe a bit sooner. I'll just see how I go. You never know, I might even be able to put more regular videos up if I can work out this sort of thing where I can record during the day while I'm sort of sitting here doing some work, and maybe I just might do little snippets and record some thoughts or something and then piece them all together and do a video every couple of weeks. But we'll see how we go. In the meantime, I hope you all stay safe, stay well, healthy, wash your hands. Don't forget to wash your hands. And social distancing. SD. Hashtag SD. Social distancing. So remember that. Don't touch people. Stay as far away from people as possible. And Hermit. Because you know what? Hermit and stitching is the perfect thing. I'm having no problems with Hermit and Stitch. So enjoy. Stay safe. That's the important thing. Stay safe. Look after each other. Look after family and friends if you're allowed to sort of see them, but otherwise keep in touch. Make sure you don't forget people, because there is going to be an awful lot of people who are not going to cope with this isolation. So if you have some way of contacting people that you would normally go and see, or people that you maybe don't go and see, I've seen a couple of different groups are starting up doing sort of more virtual stuff. There's obviously the virtual stitches, but I have heard that there's some other people that are starting to do Zoom meetings with a couple of friends or something that they would normally just email. So I think it's a lovely idea, and at the end of the day, this might turn out to be a really good thing as far as people who normally don't get to talk to people face to face about the stitching can actually do it virtually. So who knows? We should try and use it to the best of our ability. Anyway, that's a ramble. And another rabbit hole that we could go down at some point, but we won't today. I will sign off now, and I will see you again soon. So take care. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and liking, and thank you for your comments. Feel free to pop comments and questions in should you have any, and I will get back to you at some point on them. In the meantime, see you next time. Catch you later. Bye.